Tomorrow, it's all going to be about running on tired legs.
Right.
And running with my heart and with my dad. And actually, I have a couple friends, one's right around the corner there, that came into town that's going to be running with me as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Will you carry Dad's picture with you?
I always carry it, and every finish line, I always have it out with me.
Very nice. You're making me tear up a little bit. Welcome to Believe in Progress, the American Association for Cancer Research Foundation podcast. Join us and be inspired by the incredible stories of those who have faced cancer with strength and resilience, and the medical professionals who are working tirelessly to find new treatments and ultimately a cure. Believe in Progress isn't just about the science of cancer. It's about the human side of this disease. Together, we can make progress in the fight against cancer and bring hope to those who need it most. Welcome to a special live episode of the Believe in Progress podcast, brought to you by the American Association for Cancer Research. I'm your host, Mitch Stoller, Chief Philanthropic Officer at AACR, and we're coming to you directly from the iconic Philadelphia Convention Center, where we have our Philadelphia Marathon AACR booth. Today we're celebrating the incredible stories of resilience, determination, and community that make this event so inspiring. Whether they're here as a runner, a volunteer, or a supporter, we'll hear from several guests that are part of something truly special, the drive to make progress, not just in the marathon, but in the fight against cancer. Throughout today's episode, we'll be joined by amazing guests, including runners, advocates, and community leaders who share a common passion for pushing boundaries and making an impact. So let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're honored to have Mark Sullivan join the Believe in Progress podcast. And this happens to be our very first live podcast here at the Philadelphia Convention Center. And you're our very first live guest. So wow. we are honored to have you here, Mark. So welcome to Believe in Progress.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here.
So tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about your background, Mark.
I'm from central Pennsylvania. I have been running for many years, started running back in about 1984, I believe it was. Ran very casually for a while, started marathoning in 1986. Liked doing the marathons, so I started running 2 marathons a year. Liked doing them so much, I started doing 4 marathons a year, and eventually just started doing marathons all the time. Became almost exclusively in doing the marathons. I've done 184 marathons, and I'm this year running my 31st Philadelphia Marathon. I'm one of 2 legacy runners who have run every one of the Philadelphia Marathons.
So let's talk about that for a second. When I met you now about 8-9 years ago. So tell everybody what the Legacy Marathon is, or how. There's only one other person, right?
Yep, there's just 2 of us. Yeah. What happened was back. It was around the 15th running of the marathon. I met some of the organizers up in Ottawa. And they said, come run the Philadelphia Marathon. And I said, I will be there. I run it every year. And they go, well, we want you to run this year. And I said, well, I've run it every year. And they go, wait, every year? And I said, yeah. And they go, do you have records? I said, sure, I have all my records to show it. And they said, well, we're trying to track down anybody who has run the Philadelphia Marathon for every year. And I said, okay, coming up on the 15th year, I was assuming they'd have, maybe 24 people or so. And they said, well, I said, how many do you have? They said, 1. And I said, you mean only one other person? They said, yeah. So I said, oh, you'll get more. And it turned out there never was anybody else. We were the only 2 that we've done searches time and time again, but the only 2 of us who happened to make it to the very first one and are still doing it today.
And Mark, back then, for the very first one, how many people ran in the marathon?
There was about 1,500 total. Yeah.
And we're talking 17,000 tomorrow?
Yes.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
The growth has been incredible. I always pointed out one of the things that's really great about Philadelphia is they had a controlled growth to their marathon. And that's very important. A lot of races get too big for themselves too quickly, and they can't handle it. They don't know how to deal with it, and they don't have the infrastructure, and they don't have the support for the runners. And the Philadelphia Marathon has done a fantastic job of that. Years ago, they used to run the half marathon and the marathon on the same day.
Right.
And then they decided one year to take them apart, when a lot of people were kind of balking at the idea, saying, well, we like running together. But they didn't understand that by doing so, you suddenly are able to use the same resources for 2 different days and have so many more people run. And it really made a big difference because, the full field was like it is for one day now. And now we have 2 days of races. We have the half marathon on Saturday and the marathon on Sunday. And both fields are as big or bigger than they were before they split the races.
And a little earlier, you were just talking to some of the people that are coming in. Explain to our folks what you do to kind of talk them through the course, I guess.
I do a course overview seminar. I've been doing that for almost 15 years now. And I'm a running coach, so what I do is I try to prepare them. I explain to them, I say, you spent months preparing yourself physically to go out and run this race. But I said, you know that in the last stages of a marathon, it becomes a mental game. You have to be able to keep yourself together, keep yourself on course by playing mental tricks, doing something to yourself mentally. And I said, so you take this time to go verbally through the course. I have a map. I show them what they're going to be expecting to see along the route, and try to warn them about where the hills are, where the areas of really high energy spectators might be, that they might get themselves ahead of pace. They're running too fast for themselves. And so if they're trying to hit a particular time or trying to run a particular goal, that's going to help them do that. I also talked to them about having a race plan, the old adage of failing to plan, and I try to explain to them, you need to have a race plan going into it. You don't just go in and wing it. And I always recommend the best race plan is to run a progressive third strategy by dividing the race into thirds and then running the first third extremely conservative. It should feel much too easy. And then the middle third should feel about right. And then the final third be the race. And I said, if you do it that way, you're going to run opposite of what most runners are doing. They're running it the other way, and you end up finishing very strong and racing to the finish line and passing people, and it's a great feeling. But if you do it the other way, it's not.
Where's some of the high energy spots for the marathon?
There's quite a few. I always warn them about. Actually, I always point out that when you come up on 6th Street and make the left, they're on Chestnut Street.
Right at the AACR office.
And I always point that out. You're going to see the office there. And I said, but along Chestnut Street and Walnut Street of the marathon, what happens is you have spectators who were up watching the early stages that walk down there. And so it's a narrow area that you're running through. It's only 2 lanes wide.
It's like a chute or something like that.
And there's something about that. It's very easy to run fast, and it seems effortless. Doesn't feel like you do anything.
Right.
And I've seen so many runners as they're running, they're picking up the pace each mile. And by the time they hit that bridge and they're going up, and they're going to make a right turn onto 34th Street, they're running 35, 40 seconds too fast per mile, and they hit the first hill. And so I always warn them, you got to hold back, don't let that happen.
Is that because their adrenaline gets pumped up? They're just natural, right? It's a natural thing. Mark, you've been an ambassador for the AACR for now 9 years now.
I think it's 8 years.
8 years.
Every year you came in, I think we were in the 2017, was that when you took over?
I'm not 100% sure, but somewhere around there. And you've really been fantastic. And could you talk to us a little bit about cancer research, and maybe how it's touched you and your family at all?
Well, I've pointed out that it's interesting because I started running the Philadelphia Marathon here, first year, 1984. And we'd come down to the marathon, and I used to, at that point, 1984, was still training with another fellow once in a while, running other marathons with a friend of ours from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He ran Boston Marathon with me. We went to Richmond, ran the Richmond Marathon together. We ran other marathons together. And he had been diagnosed the following year with cancer. He had esophageal cancer, and didn't last long. It was quick for him. So he left behind a wife who was also a runner, and it's just such a sad time. And he felt very helpless. What can I do for this person? I had another friend at the same time who had didn't realize, approximately the same age, and he developed esophageal cancer almost the same time. Didn't even know until months later, and he revealed that to me too. Also a runner, and incidentally, they were using what would be considered some radical new research techniques, and he lived many years longer, because of this, and it was incredible. So, that in itself was a testament to what can be done with cancer research. But I also had another friend I graduated high school with who moved to the Philadelphia area, and we used to come down to the marathon each year. And we'd come to the expo, and he would bring his young boys, and we'd walk around the expo, and they were excited to be here, and giveaways. There'd be a hat they get or something, try the games when they throw a ball into something and win something. And they thought it was great. We'd all have dinner together. We'd go out and have some pasta together, and got to see him, several times. And then, a few years later, he was diagnosed with cancer also. And, so we lost him a few years back. And, I have good memories of just a few years ago going over to his house after the marathon. My wife and I drove over, and his wife's made, chicken parm, and we were sitting there with him, and he was getting excited because the Eagles were coming on that night. And I think that a year later he's not around. So just a tough thing. And then over the last year, we lost a friend, a woman from North Carolina, very, very quick. She developed cancer. It metastasized very, very fast, and she was gone so quickly. Just happened. So in the period of, the 31 years that I've run a marathon, there's 3 people close to me that I've lost. And, that's 3 too many.
your experience, at least with us, and since we've been here, we're seeing a lot more green on the road now. We have, I think some 700 runners, where back in the beginning, we had 50 runners, I think, out there. Have you seen a change from your vantage point?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I remember one of the first years I ran, I had this shirt, and I thought, you don't have a contingent of Runners for Research at Boston, but I'm going to wear the shirt anyway.
Right.
And I wore it through, and people kept yelling for me, and say Runners for Research,
right.
Which is great, just to raise awareness. Boston has a lot of charities, and they have,
We're trying to get into Boston. We're actually been working with Bill to try to get us in there. So.
I heard them talking the other night about that, which is great, and it's a great resource, for the American Association for Cancer Research to be able to be in that race that size and have that high profile. But it's incredible, because even the first year that I came here, I remember far fewer people. It just was, and now it seems to be really catching on, and people are starting to be aware. With mentioning the legacy runners, I sent them a message the other day and explained to them why they should be a part of this. There's only been one other. We have in the legacy program, and I guess I should back up a little bit and explain this. So there's two people who are charter members of the Legacy Club, and they are myself and Bob Cohen. We've run for every year. But we started this Legacy Runner program through the Philadelphia Marathon quite a few years ago, so we'd have levels. So there's a 15-year level, and a 20-year level, 25, and now a 30-year level. If you run 15 Philadelphia Marathons, and that's only running half of them,
right.
You can be a legacy runner. And so we have a program that I work with the city, so that if you're a legacy runner, you get your entry taken care of. You come to the marathon, you can run for free as a legacy runner. So 15 is, a lot of people say, well, that's a lot of marathons to run.
Yep.
But I've met many people who say, gee, I've run 10 or I've run 11. I didn't think about it, but that gets me incentive to come back. So I sent a note out, and I said, as legacy runners, you're getting a free entry into an event that's raising money for the American Association for Cancer Research.
Right.
Why don't you give back? And so just this week, a bunch of them did. They donated. I was really happy to hear.
We got to work on them, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're our ambassadors, for the race itself, being a legacy runner. But they can also be an ambassador for cancer research.
So wait, how many marathons have you run?
184.
And tomorrow will be
185.
And what motivates you to keep doing this?
Well,
I know you're a coach, but that's different.
I'm suffering from a nerve injury in the leg that has really hampered my running, and it's more of a shuffled walk now. But I used to really love running marathons. There's something about running a marathon. You could run a 5K every week, every weekend. It was no big deal,
Right.
And you go home, and it was like everything is the same. But the marathon, there was just something about the time that you took to train, to build up, and the people I coach, a lot of them have conveyed that to me. They say, you really made me love the sport. The whole journey of going through this process of going longer and longer and longer, and eventually, achieving this goal. I made the analogy years ago, and I kind of took some heat from somebody, but a couple of women have said, no, you're absolutely right. I said, running a marathon is kind of like having a baby. And I said, I can't speak to having a baby, but I said, from the moment of conception, I'm going to run a marathon, you're never going to be the same. Your life changes. And I said, you're going to go through, trimesters of different things, and you're going to find yourself, your body changing, your priorities are going to change. When you're training for the marathon, it's all about taking care of yourself, making sure you're eating right, doing the things you need to be doing. Same with a person having a child. They want to make sure they're doing everything they possibly can so they have that healthy baby. And I said, it's funny because people are going out and doing this training, and they're eating, and you're eating for two. Well, you're because you're running a marathon,
right.
You basically are doing these things.
Right.
And then I said, if you do everything right, if you've done the training on race day, you have this wonderful delivery day. It's going to be pain, but it's going to be joy at the same time.
Sure.
Same way. And I said, and like so many women who I've spoken to who have said to me, oh, you're so spot on. This is exactly what I feel. I said, because after you do the marathon, there's this postpartum depression.
Right.
It's like,
right. Because you've trained so long and so hard for it.
That's it.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
I want to do another one. Yeah.
This morning I was out at the first stop for water stop, fluid stop, and I was telling my wife, I said, everybody coming through, I was getting inspired. Like, I've got to run another one again, maybe a half. But you see these people. Yes, people raising money for cancer research and doing other good things, but you get inspired by it was 15,000 people this morning.
Right.
Unbelievable. And
it's such a unique sport. I make the point to a lot of people who are into golf. You're never going to go out and golf with Tiger Woods. You like to shoot hoops, but you're not going to do it with LeBron James. It's not going to happen. But you run in a marathon, and you're running with the world-class runners, and you're running the exact same race, exact same course, everything. There's nothing special. And so you don't have that in any other sport. There's no other sport that that the average runner can be out there and doing, or the average participant can be doing with a world-class athlete.
Well, don't you think we can get more people to sign up for the Runners for Research team, and then we can get them into running halves and full marathons?
Absolutely. That's a great way to do it,
I think
give them
it
a purpose. A lot of times, too, people get kind of weary partway through their training. They don't know what to, how to keep themselves motivated. And knowing that you've got people that you're raising money for, that's a great motivator to keep yourself out there.
Well, Mark, we're so honored to have you involved with the AACR as an ambassador and more importantly, as a friend of the organization. I can't thank you enough for giving us a couple minutes of your time today.
No problem.
You're an amazing guy, and take it easy tomorrow, my friend.
I plan to.
What was your fastest marathon ever, by the way?
2:39.
2:39. Where was that?
Boston.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've run I think a 2:40.
What's your favorite marathon besides Philly?
I used to get that question a lot, and at the time I used to say that it was kind of a tie between Ottawa and Philly. And I liked Ottawa for a lot of different reasons, but as time went on, Philly kept getting better. It really was. And that was before I was, really involved with the race.
Yeah.
They just kept getting better and better, and Philly really is. I mean, I say logistically, Philadelphia is a fantastic race to come in. I mean, it's centrally located with, all of the restaurants, all the hotels are so close right here to the...
It's perfect.
You can walk everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to go any... And they even run shuttles to the start of the race. I mean, it's unheard of. It's a mile away.
So everybody out there listening, sign up for the Philadelphia Marathon weekend next weekend, Runners for Research program. We need you.
Absolutely.
And let's thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you
Thanks.
too, Mitch. Thanks.
I'm thrilled to introduce everybody to Linda Reilly. Linda, we're so honored to have you here for our Believe in Progress live podcast at the Philadelphia Convention Center. Welcome to Believe in Progress.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, honestly.
Well, tell us first of all what happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm blown away by the inspiration that you have to do this, but I'd love to hear, and everyone else would like to hear what you're doing today and tomorrow.
Well, today I'm doing the Freedom Challenge this weekend, and today I ran the half marathon first, and then about 45 minutes later I ran up to the Rothman 8K.
Yes.
Finished start line, and I ran that as well.
So the Freedom Challenge is the half marathon, the 8K, and the full marathon, right?
Yes. So tomorrow I'll be running the full marathon.
Unbelievable. And you feel good right now after the first two runs?
I do. I'm a little tired. It's definitely windy out there, so that took a lot out of me. And even through the city or along the river, it can be quite windy.
I was down at the 4K mark, and lots of people cheering people on and all that. Were lots of people out cheering folks on?
Yes. It was amazing, especially through the city. I mean, and then through the universities, all the kids are out cheering, and in the city, there's a lot of people out cheering as well.
So Linda, we're all about raising money for cancer research, and that's what we do at the American Association for Cancer Research. Tell us and tell our audience a little bit about the why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
I apologize in advance if I get a little emotional.
Don't apologize.
I have a picture here. This is my father. His name is Joe. He was diagnosed with leukemia in 2014, and he fought for a year, and he passed away in October of 2015. So he is my why. He is my angel. He is with me all weekend. And matter of fact, tomorrow I actually have a T-shirt, and on the back of my shirt has 26 names. I dedicated a mile to each person that either has fighting cancer or has lost their lives to cancer. My husband as well, his mother passed away from cancer in 2012. So we have a lot of angels that are with us, and this is our way to fight back somehow.
I think that's really fantastic. I know this morning I was out looking for lots of green shirts and people that are inspired to, for similar reasons that you were inspired. Was Joe a runner too, or? My
dad wasn't a runner, to be fair, and I didn't start running until around 2010. A little bit of backstory is I have a son. He's 17 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
So that's why I started running. And I started out with a 5K and said, wow, I can really make a difference with my
raise some money for autism research too, right?
I have.
Yeah,
yes,
that's great. Fantastic.
Yes. And I realized that I can really make a difference with my running. So I went from a 5K that year to finishing the Philadelphia Marathon.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so I started out with autism research. I still do race for them as well, the Organization for Autism Research. But, I really, since my father passed away, I really wanted to start running for some kind of cancer research and just try to find a way to fight back somehow.
You bet. You're Philadelphia based, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in South Philadelphia.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you could see the Eagle Stadium from my house. Go Birds.
All right.
And then I actually recently, about 2.5 years ago, moved to Virginia.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What part of Virginia?
Coastal Virginia, like Yorktown area, Williamsburg. My husband is in the military, so he was reassigned down there to Langley Air Force Base.
Okay.
So we moved down there. So this is almost a homecoming for me.
Must feel good for you to come back to Philly, right?
It's absolutely amazing. I haven't been...
Still family here?
My mother still lives in South Philadelphia in the rural
how nice.
that I was born and raised in.
Really?
Yes.
The Chief Executive Officer of AACR, Dr. Foti, his family, and they're from South Philly.
Oh,
so
nice.
Very proud folks.
Yeah, matter of fact, today I wore a Jason Kelsey jersey. I must have heard Go Birds about 30 times. It was amazing.
But you're still a Birds fan, so that's the most important
absolutely.
thing, right?
That loyalty will never, ever change.
Tell me a little bit about your training regimen. Like, what kind of mileage do you have to put in? You said you did ultras as well, but to be able to successfully do the Freedom Challenge, tell me a little bit about your training.
So I think in peak training, I got up to about 55 miles a week, maybe a little bit more. The key was back-to-back long runs, because obviously I am running to 18 miles today, 26.2 tomorrow. So I would, on a Saturday, run about, at the most, I ran about a half marathon. And then on Sunday, I would do my long run, get up and do another long run.
So 17 miles?
22, I think.
That's your long run?
That's my long run.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of practicing running. Like tomorrow, it's all going to be about running on tired legs.
Right.
And running with my heart and with my dad. And actually, I have a couple friends, one's right around the corner there, that came into town that's going to be running with me as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Will you carry Dad's picture with you?
I always carry it, and every finish line, I always have it out with me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Making me tear up a little bit. So total miles on a week basis is how much approximately for training?
I would say it depends. I mean, I would probably rolling into at least 40, but I would say at peak probably 55,
right,
somewhere in there.
And raising money for autism and for the AACR, you've done a really great job. Thank you very much. Very, very generous, and we really appreciate it. Is that hard? Is it hard to do? Or
it can be, because I've been raising money for a while.
Yes.
So, people, especially now with the economy, things like that, it starts to get, people are like, oh, I already donated to her, I don't want to donate again. But, I have some wonderful, generous people in my life that just keep coming back and giving me, they see what I do. And I think that's why I kind of do these challenges, because I just want to be able to show, like, hey, I could put in the work. I could do the hard stuff. It's nothing compared to someone fighting with cancer or watching someone you love fight with cancer.
Right.
Let's find a way to fight back.
Yeah.
This is a way that we can help.
Your father would be extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
We're very proud of you, and we can't thank you enough for raising money for cancer research and participating and just being an awesome ambassador for AACR.
Thank you.
Really, really nice of you to do this and come by and spend a few minutes with us today.
I'm amazed that you asked me to be part of this.
You're a very special person, so
we're
really happy. So.
Thank you so much.
Today we're honored to have Brooke Byrd, who just finished a half marathon and is raising money for the AACR. Brooke, welcome to Believe in Progress.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity.
So nice to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what brought you here to Philadelphia today to run.
I started out in college studying physics and playing collegiate tennis. And then knowing that I really wanted to help people and also having cancer very close to the family, I was always searching for a way to use physics to help people. And I found the field of medical physics, which is using physics to help cancer patients in radiation therapy. And finding that allowed me to get closer and closer to helping the patients that I ultimately wanted to be involved with. My first gig was doing a Fulbright at the University of Liverpool in the UK.
I bet that was nice.
It was great, yeah. So there that was my first entrance into cancer research. I got to work within the NHS system and get to talk to patients face-to-face and see what kind of training we can provide.
Did you work with Cancer Research UK at all over there?
I did, yes. Okay. So I was very much part of UK Cancer Research.
Good friends of ours.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So it was a great opportunity to represent the US as an ambassador, but also to learn about how, the UK does cancer research and how actually quite privileged we are here in the US with all of the incredible technologies that we have.
Elaborate a little more on that, why we are so privileged.
Absolutely. The privilege of having the facilities that we do in America to treat cancer is unlike any other. So for instance, I work at the Roberts Cancer Center at Penn Medicine, and we have 5 proton beams that can treat all kinds of pediatric as well as really difficult cancers to treat, like brain tumors or anything around your brainstem. Just having 5 proton accelerators is somewhat unheard of, but at Penn we're very blessed with those kinds of resources, as well as the cancer research happening there.
So Dr. Vonderheide, is a really good friend of ours. He's a member of the board of directors of AACR, someone who I've gotten to know quite well. He's a great leader for Penn. He co-chaired the annual meeting a couple years ago and just did a phenomenal job. Really, really great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to have partners with AACR. So I was getting to, essentially, after living in the UK, I moved back to the US and I did my PhD in breast cancer surgical research, essentially trying to find a better way for breast conserving surgery to reduce positive margins. And what I was really big on is making quality breast cancer care affordable and accessible to patients all over the country. I'm personally tied to this because my aunt had breast cancer and she actually passed of it. But going back to how privileged we are in the US, one statistics that's known is that for 95% of breast cancer patients, they will have a 5-year survival rate. So breast cancer is extremely survivable in the US, and it's largely because of the advanced technology and the research that we've done to do chemotherapy, immunotherapy, surgery, advances in surgery, as well as advances in radiation oncology. And putting those 3 together has allowed for breast cancer in the US to be a highly survivable disease.
Right.
That's kind of, my work at Dartmouth was in breast cancer surgery. The clinical trials I did was allowing for a prone to supine scan to happen in one setting to allow the breast surgeons to have a better image to guide surgery. I was also highly involved with fluorescence-guided surgery, working off of an AACR grant, and we were looking for a better contrast agent to label glioma at the time of resection.
Have you been to one of our annual meetings?
So this is a sad story. I was in graduate school during the pandemic, and I was supposed to go to the 2020 meeting.
It was virtual.
It was virtual. So yes, I've been to one of those.
Chicago in April. Maybe you should go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, the great thing about AACR is that it's very it's multidisciplinary, right? So my interests were in physics, engineering, breast cancer surgery, and you can go to these conferences and the workshops and also the journal, and you can see breast cancer researchers. It's not just the biologists, it's not just the chemists, it's the physicians, it's the engineers, it's all kinds of researchers. That it's just a great cross-section of cancer research that allows us to collaborate and have a way of publishing our findings in a way that it's going to have high readership for a multidisciplinary field.
So what motivated you to run and joining the Runners for Research team?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I've lived a lot of places, and running has been one tool that I've used to kind of cope with a lot of stress that I've had during training, as well as ways to be more thoughtful during the day. It's also very accessible. So my running career, this is my 5th half marathon. And the reason that I got involved with the AACR was actually my running club was one of the main fundraisers for the AACR. The run club is called Run and Chug Philadelphia.
Right.
And
did you do one of the bridge runs? Or?
I missed the bridge run, but we had a lot of fundraisers for AACR that I did get to take a part of. And it's a great running club because It's every Wednesday. They're extremely inclusive. And as someone who's new to the city, it was a great way to kind of explore the city.
Sure.
As well as, obviously, they were taking part of AACR fundraising and knowing, like, I'm really passionate about cancer research and also part of the running club. I was gifted enough to be able to represent them
nice.
here. So.
Where does the running club meet? Do they do the different runs around the city?
Yeah, so that's the really fun part, is that every Wednesday they find a local bar, and then their running leader, Larry Powell, will go and allow us to do different routes all through the city. So it's a great way to see the city, especially for someone who, like me, who's like brand new.
Very nice.
So.
This half marathon, Philly half marathon, is this your first time doing Philly?
No, this is actually my second time. My first time was last year, and it's really a special marathon to me because I'm seeing the community that I serve.
Yes.
And I'm running with the community that I serve, and I'm also, getting to see them, like getting to cheer them on. And I think just that camaraderie, as well as like being like, yes, this is the part of the community that I'm in, and being really passionate about that is one of my, like, it's definitely my favorite race every year. And getting to see, like, sometimes getting to see some of the families that I help, or getting to see some of the patients, and some of the patients running. Whenever I see a tag that says I'm a cancer survivor, like, I know what they've been through.
It's very motivating.
And it's just, I think they're the inspiration. A lot of the times when I'm working with cancer patients, their positivity, their attitude, it's, yes, I work in a very hard condition, but getting to see some of the strength and resilience of the cancer patients in the clinic, but also like out in the city doing things like doing the half marathon is so inspirational and makes me know that like what I do really matters.
And when you were running today, did you notice other green shirts out there?
I did.
I know I saw them out there, and I love it when I see all the green shirts.
Yeah, the AACR presence was like so strong today, and that's really cool, especially as a cancer researcher, to realize like, hey, there's a lot of people here that like support the AACR, and like they're directly supporting people like me that are trying to use the skills I have, right? Like physics, engineering, all kinds of technical training to make a difference, right? And we're all kind of here fighting for the same thing.
You thinking about a marathon in your future, or stick with the half?
That's a good question. I don't know if the marathon is in my future. I'll definitely continue to partake in Philadelphia Marathon weekend, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, to the audience, this is what makes me so proud to work at the AACR, where we raise money for bright young scientists like yourself, and the good work that you're doing. We're honored, actually, that you're here today, and that you're so driven and passionate to do something really special and to improve people's lives. That's really what it's all about, Brooke. And I can't thank you enough for giving us a couple minutes of your time and raising money for cancer research. Really, really nice of you to do that. So such a pleasure to meet you. And
thank you.
You very much.
Thanks again.
Pleasure. We're here at the Philadelphia Convention Center with our special guest, Anwar Miller. Anwar, it's a great honor to have you here with us today.
It's great to be here, Mitch.
So tell me, where are you from, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm right here from the city of brotherly love.
You are city of brotherly. I love it.
Yes. But I've moved to Delaware, so we've been in Delaware for, I think, 21 years, something like that.
Okay. What races did you run today?
So today I ran the half marathon.
Yep.
And then I ran the 8K afterwards.
Yep.
And I'm contemplating running a marathon tomorrow.
You are. You're contemplating it.
I'm contemplating it.
Okay, good. And what brings you to the AACR? What's your why? Why are you here with us on the Runners for Research team?
The reason why I'm here is because, we've lost too many people in our family to cancer. I mean, my mother-in-law passed way too early, 61 years old. Took her out in like 30 days. As soon as she found out she had cancer, she was gone. A month later, I lost my aunt. So it was it was a rough year. And before that, I lost both my grandmothers to cancer. So when we look at it, I come from the technology field, and technology continues to advance in leaps and bounds. And we need to continue to throw as much money as we possibly can to have the greatest discovery in human existence, our bodies, to really progress as fast as technology has, so we can solve these diseases that are killing us off.
So what motivates you to run and stay in such great shape? And you said you did the Ironman or triathlon just recently too, right?
Yeah, Ironman Sacramento a month ago, and that was my second full Ironman. Seventh Ironman altogether. I did about 5 halves.
So it's a 3.2 mile swim?
2.4 mile swim.
Okay, and then what's the ride?
112 mile bike ride.
And a full marathon.
And a full marathon at the end, yes. That was a month ago.
So what kind of training regimen do you have?
For triathlons, I typically will train 6 days a week. I'll take 1 day off. And I typically do 2 disciplines a day. So I'll do something in the morning, not that bad, maybe an hour, and something either at lunchtime or in the late afternoon, like after work, 5:30, 6 o'clock, for another hour and a half. And then the weekends, that's where the long trainings come. Maybe 4 hours on Saturday, 4 or 5 hours on Sunday, and then it sort of scales up to 6 hours to 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday.
And does it change, like doing what you're doing here, like doing the 8K and the half marathon? Is your training regimen different, or does it? Is there any difference at all between that type of training and Ironman training?
I try to sort of put the runs after the Ironman, because the Ironman sort of trains different parts of your body, right? It's like cross training.
Swimming and
it's
all
swimming
that.
for recovery in a sense. It's biking. It's running, and so it helps with those muscles. And so after the Ironman, I typically will do like, I'll run every day, and I'll drop the bike, and I'll just do the swim like 2 or 3 times a week. So I'll drop the bike, run up a little bit more 3 or 4 times a week to sort of get ready for this. Unfortunately, the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've had an issue with my foot. Some arthritis came back after the Ironman, so I haven't been able to run until today, but we did well.
You felt fine?
Oh yeah, felt fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say fine. I still had a pain every step, but I think about the fact that it just like raising money for cancer. We got to put one foot in front of the other. Every little step makes a difference.
So does that motivate you?
It does.
Yeah.
It motivates me. I want to, when my body is healthy, I want to continue to keep it healthy, take care of my body. That's why I do these things.
And you're honoring your family, basically.
Honor my family.
And as you know, we fund best research in the world.
Absolutely.
And we're really trying to make a difference for the future. I mean, that's really what it's all about.
And Mitch, you absolutely are. I think this is an incredible organization. I think this is my 3rd or 4th year running with you guys. I've galvanized my company to help fundraise as well for this event. So we're doing a really
What kind of technology do you do?
I work for Google.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I work for Google, and so I actually work for Google Cloud specifically. And Google Cloud really empowers a lot of technology around the world, including AI and Gen AI. And some of those things are going towards cancer research.
No doubt about it. Many scientists are using those technologies, and that's great. It's really important for like making a big difference out there for researchers. When you're out running, do you see more green shirts than maybe you did 3 years ago?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people. I mean, running is, I think, it's becoming this sort of recreational sport that everybody enjoys. But I think when you start to get to a half marathon and a full marathon, you got to dig down and run for a purpose that's bigger than yourself. And so I don't run for me anymore. I run for the people out there that are suffering from this disease. My aunt right now is going through it as we speak. And so I run for her. And actually, that's what encouraged me to say, you know what, Anwar, I don't care how you feel. Get up and run your butt this morning and do the half and do the 8. Because they get up every single day and they fight that horrible disease.
That's a fantastic attitude to have. How long have you been running, actually? How many years?
So I think I've been running, I want to say, let me see, this is 2024. I want to say since 2012, maybe.
Okay, so for a while, right?
About 12 years, yeah.
Have you done any other half marathons or marathons, like, out of state and all that?
Actually, no. I did the York PA Marathon last year.
Okay.
That was in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I've done the Philadelphia Half Marathon probably almost every year since like 2015 or so.
So I know the Runners for Research team is looking at like really expanding a little bit. We have some bibs in New York, and we're trying to get bibs in Boston and maybe some other places like that. So maybe we get a pretty cool place we can get you to maybe go there.
Well, Mitch, I'll tell you this much. I don't know if you know, but Google has offices in New York. They got offices in D.C. They got offices in California. So
It's funny, I've heard that name.
Yeah. This small little company, So wherever they have offices, they have runners. So it's like let's do some ththings together.
Well, can't thank you enough for raising money for the AACR for cancer research, and for being just you got a great attitude and just a bright spot and getting Google involved. All those things are fantastic. I really appreciate it. Thanks for doing what you do for people out there, and we'll keep seeing you around.
Well, Mitch, I think you guys are doing all the hard work. I think the easy thing is for us to be able to try to stand behind you and give you all the support that you need. So I encourage everybody out there to continue to support AACR. I'm a fantastic organization, and through you guys, we can funnel all our efforts and resources to help you.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
man.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us on this special live episode of the Believe in Progress podcast. The Philadelphia Marathon is more than just a race. It's a symbol of resilience, determination, and progress. From the inspiring stories of today's guests to the incredible support of this community, it's clear that we're all running towards a common goal, making a difference in the fight against cancer. To our listeners, remember that every step counts, both on the race course and in the quest for a world free from cancer. Your support helps fuel groundbreaking research and brings hope to patients and families everywhere. Please consider making a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research at aacr.org. Every contribution moves us closer to life-saving breakthroughs. And thank you for listening to the Believe in Progress podcast. Keep believing in progress and the power of community. And remember, cancer research saves lives. This podcast is produced by College Cast LLC.